Captive Disc Man, Answers in Atheism. This panel has no ultimate purpose. B.S. Lewis Man here. All right. Everybody's headphones are now properly exploded. It's time to start this insanity. Okay, so a while back I had a message, and basically this is the message.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. All right, that's fine.
Hate when I get that message.
Yeah. So, the secular movement has utterly, humiliating, and shamefully refused to provide any sort of meaningful, useful goals for life, useful ways of living life, or life affirmation besides weird, niche, political drivel. Wow. Yikes. Okay, so, using that kind of as a launching off point, because we're not necessarily responding to that directly, we're going to talk about, broadly speaking, the meaning of life, and maybe talk about the secular movement. Are we part of this thing? What is that? You know, what are we part of this atheist thing? You know, what, all that sort of thing. So that's where I wanted to go with this. Obviously, we could go the really quick route and say, well, the meaning of life is to procreate. And good night, everybody. No. But hopefully we'll get a little bit deeper in that. And we're going to just start with Answers in Atheism, because he's the wisest of us all. And then we're going to go to descending order of B.S. Lewis being the second wisest. Captive Dave is actually transcendent wisest, so he's actually outside the box, and I'm somewhere in the bottom. So that's how we're going to do it. So what's the meaning of life? If you want to start there, do you want to start with like the secular community, the atheist community? What do you make of that?
Me?
Yes.
Me?
Yes, you.
What the
You
hell?
with the face.
I thought oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, I think the first thing that I want to ask is, why the hell are we always talking about and looking for meaning in the first place? So it's something to consider overall while we're talking about this. Like, what is it exactly about humans where we just assume that, oh, we got to have meaning in our life or whatever? That's one interesting question that I never thought of until today, until I was thinking about this podcast. And I was like, wait a minute. Everybody just says, oh, you know, you got to find meaning. It's like, wait a minute, why? What are we talking about? And so I pulled up a couple of books and papers and found some interesting stuff about the psychology of meaning and the lack of, you know, that sort of thing. But anyway, how much time I got here? So our intro?
Yeah, I mean,
hour?
no.
Hour and a half?
It's until we're sick and tired of each other.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So, you know, meaning in my life, and like I'm a lifelong atheist. I have never had an issue in my life with finding meaning in my life. And I get up in the morning and I have like, I don't know what kind of a crazy shot of dopamine I wake up with, but I race out and I start doing stuff. And it isn't, I mean, it's in the existential cracks that I'll say, oh, what's the meaning of it all? At no time in my life have I ever thought, if I don't have meaning that outlasts my life, you know, that lasts forever, that I don't have any meaning now. You know, it just never made any sense to me that I need some eternal or universal meaning in my life. In fact, I think those kinds of things detract from the real meaning of my life, which is walking upstairs, saying hi to my kid, and hanging out with them, going to the store, opening a door for somebody, just living my life, experiencing music and plugging my butt down and watching a good Netflix series. I mean, all of this fills my life up, and I don't need any overall deeper meaning particularly. And if I do, it's pretty damned easy to find, because I don't know if you've ever heard about a person that died and nobody showed up for their funeral, and everybody said, good. You know, they were just like, I mean, if you want to live, you know, a meaningful life and have it last afterwards, be the kind of person that your funeral is going to be a sad event, right? People are going to miss you. People are going to care about you. You're going to extend into the future. And then we have, these little critters that we create. These little critters we create, they're going to have a whole new life and a whole new set of experiences. And we try to do the best we can to prepare them for that. And we kind of like set them off and we watch them, the kids and the grandkids. And we go to their school plays and we watch them take their first steps. All of this is about as rich a meaning as I could possibly have, watching the little ones taking off and taking up the flag and going off and doing a new thing. I'm turning 73 tomorrow, and I ain't going to be here very, very much longer. Any moment, I could just drop dead. And my life has been extremely purposeful and meaningful, even though I've been a lifelong atheist. So I don't understand what more one would want. In a conversation with Scott just a little while ago, he said he says, why not inner meaning? Why not meaning from within? What is wrong with that? Why do we need meaning without? And so just opening it up, that's kind of what I had to say. But that question, first of all, is why meaning? Why is meaning so important to human beings? And one little addition to that, you might ask yourself, if you find a person living in the savannah somewhere in a resource poor environment where he has to walk a mile to get a drink of water and couldn't find a fish if his life depended on it, and you asked him about meaning in his life, what would meaning in his life be? Would it be a fishing pole in a pond with a couple fish in it? I don't know. An interesting thing to think about is why meaning for openers. But anyway, I'll shut the hell up.
No, I think that's good. And you mentioned psychology, and I was thinking of there's this idea that once your basic needs are met, food and water and shelter, that's when we humans start to ask
right,
why, what about this and what's all that. And somebody even brought up that the countries that have less in them, that are more poor, less opportunities, are more religious or more
right,
superstitious. And so well, it's not that the atheist countries are doing well because they're atheists. It might be that doing well produces atheism. I'm like, well, I don't know, because association causation. But yeah, why meaning? What does this soup mean? I don't know. But so let's go to uh that was A, so my brain stopped working. Whatever the next letter of the alphabet is now. That's B.S. Lewis. There we go. Thanks, brain. What are your thoughts on any of this?
Yeah, usually when this question is brought up in a theistic framework, it's talking about ultimate purpose versus the subjective purpose that the atheists usually chime in with. That's why the William Lane Craig pick, because he's notoriously famous for saying that there is no ultimate meaning or purpose on an atheism, and that's probably what helped inform that guy who left the comment, that person. And I would think that the meaning and purpose question comes down to the psychology of us as humans to be narrative storytellers. And I don't think an ultimate purpose or meaning is necessary for that. I would agree with what Speed said. You can take it down to a subjective level. And if I just decided that my meaning for the rest of my life was to troll Deconverted Man, I would have meaning and purpose. Right? Somehow when you say it to the religious, though, it's not good enough. They would like me to troll you for eternity and be like, this, well, it's not good trolling if you and Deconverted Man both die, because, and then we get into talks of value and what an eternity versus a finite system is. And so that's it. I don't want to take too many points because I don't want to take away from any that Dave might have. But my last comment before I pass it on would be the obligatory joke that the meaning of life is obviously 42.
Of course. Those are good points as well. Dave, Captive Desk, your thoughts on this, broadly speaking, or
I
specifically
would
speaking, or any speaking at all?
I would say that, yeah, I mean, beyond the biology of reproducing and the next generations and everything, we also live a lot longer than just past procreating. So there's a lot of time to spend thinking and pondering, and the meaning fills in the spaces, beyond just living. What do you do when your needs are met? When we became societies and we settled down and had the more luxury time to spend pondering and taking up art and literature, and then studying the past and the early scientists and everything. It's something else to do. I mean, and ultimately, um, I don't really see the difference between being a believer or being a non-believer, other than you're setting yourself up for an afterlife. So I think everybody has the same uh, goals in life, and you like to do things you like to do. You like to go golfing or fishing or hunting or whatever your hobbies are. Believers and non-believers all do those things. You have your birthday parties, anniversary parties, weddings, all those kind of things. So ultimately, I think we all share the same meanings overall in life. It's just how you're going to set yourself up for an afterlife.
Yeah, there is a difference between the idea of an afterlife and not having that belief, uh, and how that really draws a hard line between um, the theist and a non-believer. Technically, you could be an atheist and believe in an afterlife, of course. Most don't. I don't know any atheist that does, but they might be out there. Now, kind of going back to the this as a launching off point. So the secular movement. Now, I don't consider myself part of any movement, and I don't know that I'd want to be. I probably wouldn't do very well because you have to do stuff. I'm good at making videos, but other than that, So are we this secular movement? Do you see yourself as a secular person, or, and of course asking for atheism to provide something is kind of odd because it's a description, not a prescription. So, any thoughts on any of that? We'll go backwards for me, uh, which is basically me saying what I said, and then we'll do captive desk. Do you think that you're part of a secular movement, or you want to be part of one, or you part of an atheist community? What do you think about those sort of ideas?
Well, first, I wanted to mention you'd have to define afterlife, because Mike might agree with the Buddhist idea of everything is just a continuation. So uh,
Oh,
in a
right.
way, there is an afterlife. We would have to define that. I think, yeah, it's all, everything that we were was something else, and I'm going to be something else someday, and I think that's pretty neat. So what exactly that is going to be, I don't think there's another being, but I could be a few specks in another being. So that's kind of an afterlife thought. But I as far as secular goes, as far as you have to have free expression and free thought and all that kind of thing. So you have to have everybody has to have the chance to have a voice, um, even if it's easily dismissed or debunked. That's part of the process. So
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, BS, do you think that you are in a secular community or atheist community, or what do you think about this sort of like, are we a community? What are we? What's going on here?
I don't know. I think to the religious, sometimes secular just means atheist, but I don't think secular means that to me. I think secular is just a reinforcement of the principle of separation of church and state. And if that's the meaning, then yes, I definitely support that at every turn, because I think theocracy is one of the worst nightmares that could be thrust upon humankind. And so I would think that the poster of the comment would also agree in secularism, in my definition, if it was a religion that he didn't agree with or they didn't agree with, um, living in under Sharia law as a Christian or whatever. So maybe it's just a mistranslation in the definition. If it's some kind of secular just meaning atheist community, then no, because atheists are as broad as theists are. If you're going to say are theists all lumped together only in the belief of a god, but there's a big difference between a Hindu and a Muslim and a Christian and a progressive Christian and this and that and the other. And the same goes across the board for atheism. There's right-wing political, left-wing political, centrists, etc., etc. That's it.
Yeah. And then, of course, answers in atheism. Are you a part of a secular community, or do you want to be part of one? Are we a
Well,
community of atheists? What is all that?
definitely on YouTube here, we found a community. We're all friends, and and it keeps broadening. So there's that little tribe, and I'm part of kind of the same movement that to better ourselves by getting away from some of the religious principles that are getting in the way of our continued understanding of human existence, and our like my biggest bitch about religion is that it gets in the way of how we teach our children and how we use neuroscience to inform us about what we could and should do. And there are a lot of shoulds, in my morality, about how we should behave. That so in that way, I am part of what I consider a movement, and what I'm doing about it. I mean, I'm not carrying a flag or arming a community or anything like that. I'm trying to spread information and provide answers in atheism. And one of the things about the name Answers in Atheism, other than that it's a play on Answers in Genesis, is that I believe that there are answers in a clear understanding of what you are as a human organism on this planet at this particular time during your life. And there's a lot that there's a logical extension of being alive for like 100 years and doing the best you can as a human being and living as the human being that you are. And those are the answers that I'm kind of, that would be the banner of my community, is providing answers in this naturalistic truth about what we are and how we should live. Right. So I don't know, I think that's an answer.
Yeah, I never saw. I always kind of rejected the notion of atheist community, because it's like, yes, there's atheists. We're here, but I guess whatever community is, it's like, yeah, we people, we're all talking to each other, so that's a community, I
Yeah.
suppose. I mean, what else? I don't know what else you would call it. It's kind of abstract. Uh, and to go back to your question answers, what is the deal with, what is the deal with looking for meaning, or thinking that there has to be a meaning or whatever? And it's like, well, who knows? I mean, this is, when I believed, it wasn't, it was a simple thing, because it's like you're given it. This is it. This is what your thing is. And when I lost that, when I deconverted, then you have to grow up in a way.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out on your own. You have to be, well, as I say, free thinker. And for some people, it seems they want to be told, like they need to be told. And it's like, no, I can tell you, hey, your meaning is to make 1,000 videos that are an hour long each. And then when you're done doing that, then that's it. You've achieved it. But that's not going to be fulfilling for everybody. So it's kind of weird that it's like, you really want to be told, what, uh, I think that everyone's head is like, the meaning is, you must find it, because it's going to be, it's going to be yours. And for me, it's like, well, I view it as like, my meaning right now is to talk to all you guys. Then in a moment it will be something else, and then after that it will be some other thing, and so it's always changing from moment to moment. There
Well,
was, I want,
No,
yeah, go ahead. This kind of dark discussion of mortality that this one person was describing, where they imagined somebody that was being hurt and tortured, and then eventually dies, and that, well, what's the meaning of that person's life? What was the point of that? And, well, there's a cosmic justice in one system, although there really isn't, but we'll pretend that there's a cosmic justice. And then in your system there's no cosmic justice. I'm like, yeah, there isn't. And but there will be points of so within that grim life of horror until it ends, it's like, it is very hard to say what that imagined person's life's meaning was, or why that happened, or what to make of that. Does anyone have any sort of
yeah.
thoughts on that?
Can I?
We'll just go off script on
That's fine.
alphabet.
I'll keep it on the dark purpose topic here, and I'll echo what Richard Dawkins had to say, and what I think he ultimately meant when he's saying that the universe is pitiless and indifferent to human beings. If you have the need, or if you want to frame it into a narrative framework, there is only one crime for the living in the natural framework, and that is living itself. And everybody gets the same equal sentence, a death sentence for the crime of living. And I don't know if there's anything that could be more just and balanced and fair than that. It's dark, but I think it's on point.
Hmm. I think after you sound like you had an idea there.
I'm still. I think if you can be at peace with yourself, is it's a shared goal. If you don't believe, you just want to be at peace with your own life. That's all. And if you do believe, you're trying to set yourself up for going to your heaven or paradise or wherever you think you're headed after you die. But ultimately, for purpose, like I say, unless you have the segment that Deconverted Man said, that just want to be told what to do, and they're just fine and happy with that. And that's again, that's fine. I mean, not everybody's wants to spend their life intellectually or philosophically figuring things out. They just want to do their thing, and they're happy doing that, and that's fine. But the ultimate idea that you mentioned, that only because there's going to be a punishment in the afterlife for things, still doesn't change what we're doing here. Even a theocracy is going to have rules and jails, right? They just don't let you run free and do things and then let it get judged in the afterlife, right? And then the secular idea is the same, that people either have to, quote, get a punishment for a non-violent crime, or if it's a violent crime, it's to separate them from society. Okay. And so there's ultimately, again, in this life, we're doing the same things and we have the same goals, even if they're imposed by a theocracy or a dictatorship. Um, there still has to be law and order.
Yeah. That answers.
Yeah, there's so many things. The first thing is, this ultimate meaning that you get from God. You know that Sword of Christ guy that was just here?
Yeah.
He was giving us a really good example. Like, at least he was being honest about the interior of what it is to be a Christian. That he said that he can't wait until Nitty gets basically berated by God and sent into hell. That was one of his comments. And
I'm glad you
then,
guys are filling me in because I'm blocked. I didn't get to see any of it.
oh my God, it was really bad. And then he was talking about, your punishment and all this stuff. And like, okay, so this Christian meaning, what the hell is it exactly? Okay. So they get to live forever. It's like, okay, you get to have we have 100 years on this, on this planet on average, well, not on average, but if you're lucky, we have 100 years and we eat sandwiches and we enjoy movies and we have all this fun, right? But these guys want that for eternity. They're not satisfied with eating a sandwich today or enjoying their day or hugging their loved ones or their kids or having children. They want to go for eternity and have this. And then at the same time, they want all the people that don't agree with them or don't run according to their moral standards to roast in hell forever. And they want to see that happen. So they're imagining this place where they're up there. And it's very similar to if you were born into a dictatorship where your leader had this great vision for a utopia in the future, right? But you have the dictatorship of the proletariat, and you have to suffer in this life because what you're doing, what each of you individual minions are doing, is you're building a future for all these people in the future. And you have to suffer and toil in the fields, and that is the meaning in your life. How is that not like Christianity? An uber meaning from a dictator, rather than finding meaning in your own community, your own family, your own life. And I kind of question the what kind of psychology leads to that, to wanting to be under a dictator, to wanting to serve. And the other psychology is to wanting to have eternity. You're not being satisfied with just the small things you have today. There is a neuroscience of meaning, and it's really important to understand.
If you want to set up the secular versus, it's completely opposite. The secular wants to, whether we agree or not, you have the right to say it. We want freedom of expression, freedom to exchange ideas, even if some of us find, some of them ridiculous, like the Hovens or something running around. You have to have the freedom of expression. Otherwise, somebody's going to say, you can't say what you want to say, Mike, or you can't say what you want to say, BS, or DM, or me. So it has to be open back and forth.
Yeah, I have
versus,
to be able to,
like Mike said, BS with a theocracy, both of them, it's going to be 180. It's going to be our way or the highway, period. And don't say what we don't want to hear, and it shuts down discourse.
Yeah,
I
and
have
creativity.
I have to be able to say things and have people tell me that I'm wrong, and then why I'm wrong and how I'm wrong and whatever, because I can't learn otherwise, so So let me, say stuff and make mistakes. I'm bound to, and and it's like, oh, that was, it's like, instead of, insulting each other or whatever, we build each other up. It's kind of the, not to derail into, other things, but um, it is hard to reflect upon. There will be and has been some human somewhere who's had just a rotten run of life. Their whole life was just terrible and awful from the moment they were conceived until the moment they died, and there's nothing that can be done to make sense of it. And well, maybe they had a few glimmers of good here or there, and but other than that, it was just the relief came in death, and that it's like, well, where's the justice for that? It's like there isn't any unless humans do it.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, but it's weird because what they're reaching towards is kind of what Zoroastrianism proposes. If you overall or better, do better good things in life, then you weigh down that way, one side of the seesaw, and if you do bad, you weigh the other side of the seesaw. So you get good stuff if you do good, you get bad stuff if you do bad, or
Or
and there's some
karma.
yeah, right, or karma or whatever. And so uh it would be nice if that's how it was, and for all I know it is, but I can't believe it without evidence, and there doesn't seem to be any evidence. And so the 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 purpose of that person's life was something they would have to discover in the moments that they could, and maybe they did call out to for help, maybe not even knowing a word like God because they hadn't heard of that, but and calling for help, or maybe they thought this is how life is, for all we know. um and yeah, it's pretty dark and pretty grim, because that there's somebody, maybe a lot of somebodies, that experience that. And it's like, well, man, it makes you want or wish for this belief of, man, if I could just make myself believe that there was cosmic justice of some sort, that would be so nice, because then I wouldn't have to deal with the fact that there isn't cosmic justice. And I hate that there isn't cosmic justice. It's just so unfair. It's like, yeah, it's unfair. That's the truth. It isn't fair. Why did you think it was gonna be fair? There's a there's a the movie Labyrinth came to mind. It's like, it's not fair, the girl says. And he's like, what's your basis of comparison? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
she gets to this point where she matures, and she's like, it's the other person says it's not fair. She's like, yeah, it's not fair. That you're right. It's like, yeah, oh, okay. That's the lesson. Is it's not fair always, but you have to get through it anyways, despite it not being fair. And those moments that we have are the moments to look forward to, and cherish for however long we have, um, and to try to make it so that people don't do terrible, horrible things to other people. To make sure that society has the ability to get rid of mental illnesses and help those that have it, etc., and all that. Um, so I think that meaning, that quest for meaning, we're all on that journey of trying to understand reality, trying to figure it out. Um, and to expect it from any one source rather than yourself. Because even if you turn to religion, ultimately you're still turning to yourself, because you're deciding that that's the religion that you're going to stick with, or that's the religion you're going to gravitate toward. So it's still ultimately you making that decision. By the way, when I put that guy in timeout and all his messages disappeared, which was not the intended functionality. I thought.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to catch him
Yeah,
because I wanted to look at it.
Yeah, he said something that was very trollish, and I was like, no, that's too far.
Yeah,
But
he was.
anyways, yeah, I'm very light on my moderation usually, but there's certain things that I won't. It's like he said something like, "Oh, where did the person touch you?" or whatever. I'm like, no, that's too far, man. But
Yeah.
anyways, I didn't intend to blow up his comments. It's just
Nitty's not a
yeah.
Catholic anyway, so I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what the other and YouTube is weird because like it has somebody censored on my side, and I don't see how that's possible because I look through all the people that are like on my ban list or whatever, and their name didn't ever appear, but yet
Right.
I never see them, and I don't know why, and I have no idea how to. I'm like, well, maybe if I turn off all the people I've censored, and then and then I'll have to redo all that to get
Yeah.
them to show up. I don't know, but oh well, whatever. You're just living with the weirdness of YouTube.
Yeah, I have Danny's 100 sock accounts banned, and I'd have to unban. I can't find the people that I've actually banned, which are about 2 of them. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, there was somebody that went after me on a bunch of sock accounts that I banned, and along there, I might have accidentally banned somebody that I didn't
yeah,
want to, but I don't see their name on my list, and the list box is like tiny, so it's like what? It's so.
yeah,
Anyways, whatever. Anyways, so um, the meaning of life, it seems like, and I kind of had the sense that it would be this, is that we're each all in agreement that you must find it in for yourself. That is the answer.
And I think it can change frequently too. I don't think it's
Yeah,
yeah,
static.
right. That's what I'm saying. It's so
yeah.
one moment to the next. To right now, my meaning is to talk to you guys, and it's gonna be whatever the
Get a sandwich.
yeah, whatever it is,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I
Think about
yeah,
the person that's being tortured forever or whatever the hell it is. I think that was the example, right? And what is his
yeah,
meaning going to be?
exactly.
Well, if that were happening to me, my meaning would be to stop being tortured.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
please quit. But if it compare that to okay, there's mice out in the woods in the backyard here, and one of them will have a litter of 5 mice, and 2 of them, as soon as they tumble out of the nest, the owl's going to eat them. And the other 3, out of those 3, it'd be very lucky if one of them survives, right? I mean, what is the meaning of his life? What is the meaning of his life? Well, his meaning of his life was to get up out of the nest and say, "Hey, world, I'm going out there," right? Now, so I mean, what are we comparing this to? We're fairly privileged people, all of us. We are super privileged. We have all the food in our bellies that we want. We have all the shit we want. And we're wandering around saying, "Oh, we got to figure out meaning." Well, if you walk by a house and you knew somebody was being tortured in there, you would never have to figure anything out. You would just charge in there or do something about it as quickly and as because that's what we are.
yeah,
We're kind of like meaning and moral machines. It's our very nature. We don't have to look to any outside to find the nature of goodness in human beings. We all know what right and what wrong is, and we all have this inner sense of helping each other, taking care of each other, existing in a community, and that provides meaning. And there's meaning everywhere. Meaning is like the low-hanging fruit in our universe, and we're so sick and thick with meaning that when we run into a point where, oh, there's nothing on Netflix, I don't know what I'm going to do. What's the meaning of it all? I mean, like, grow up, Buttercup. It's like
yeah. Help somebody, do some
it's like
volunteer work, or
right.
I mean, look outside yourself.
Yeah,
There's programs you can write. Be a pen pal to somebody in prison. I mean,
yeah,
there's all sorts of things you can do.
yeah. One of those evil people that are going to get justice in the end or whatever.
Well, yeah, but they need somebody to talk to, so and go
Yeah,
visit them. Be a secular chaplain. Why not? You could do that. I mean, there's all sorts of things, and you know, you could go to a grocery store and put all the carts that are loose back in the place where they
Yeah.
belong. It's like, well, that takes away somebody's job. Well, or maybe it makes it easier. I don't know, but hey, it was
Yeah.
something to do. You know, I mean, you know,
Yeah, I go to Sam's Club and I look around for people who have just brought their cart to the car. You know, if I'm putting my cart away so that I can grab their cart and put it away too. Why the hell would an atheist do that? Well, for some reason it makes me feel good.
yeah,
I
why not?
like it. It's
Yeah, why
meaning, you
not?
know, it's like,
Sure. It's,
Yeah.
okay, so I
uh,
had like 5 minutes of meeting and now I'm gonna drive home and I'm gonna listen to XM33 what the hell is that? I forget what the name of it is, but some great rock music, right? And then I have meaning till I get home. I don't even get my damn groceries. I'm going to put them away, and I'm going to eat my cherries, and that's meaning. And it's like we're meaning machines. We wake up in the morning and we have this shot of emotional neurotransmitters that get us up and doing things and accomplishing things, and we do that all day. And every now and then we'll hit that little dead spot, that air pocket, right? Where, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do now. You know, and that's also the part of being a human being. When you hit those dead spots, think about that poor goddamn little mouse that wandered out of the nest and got eaten by an owl, you know, week after he was born. I mean, Jesus, be grateful and do good things if you're searching for meaning. And meaning will just spring up within you automatically because that is the nature of a human being, I think.
Can I take a second to marry Speed's opening to my opening,
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about biological needs plus the psychology of narration and narrative storytelling?
Yeah.
I think if we're talking about purpose, we're talking about cause and effect. We're talking about needs. And then once we pass the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like you could still have purpose in the requirement, the biological requirement of having to have food, water, shelter. And
Yeah.
then you meet those needs. Then we go to the next level. I don't know what they are, but it's a pyramid thing. Us in our modern state are pretty high on the pyramid. We've already met most of our base Maslow's hierarchical needs. We've done second level to third level to whatever. But each level that we're climbing along these biological needs and wants scales, we're also driving with narratives to tell us psychological stories to tell ourselves and tell others, tell each other about these. But to your poster, to the guy who wrote that comment's point, this is, and I think people are going to agree with me, where your religion came from. We need water for our crops. Let's tell the psychological narrative that there's a dance we can do that's going to bring water to our crops.
Yeah.
We need food. The gods will provide us food. Move up the pyramid, move up the pyramid. And so
yeah.
this might actually explain, if he's listening to what we're saying here, it might actually explain to him why he is religious in the first place.
No, I don't think he's religious. He was complaining that the you know, the secularist or atheist, or you know, that we quote unquote have utterly failed to provide this, and it's like, well, you know, maybe. I don't know. So I thought, yeah, I'll do the little thing that I can do and try to provide a little bit of that here.
But my point
You
is
know,
that the explanation of trying to meet that base level of needs, the explanation given by one culture is going to be different from another culture. This
oh
is
yeah,
why the religions formed differently in the first place, and then they evolved as the individuals and the society and the group move up that triangle to safety, security, love, belonging, self-esteem, and self-actualization. Self-actualization is a huge point in Christianity in general.
right,
It's
yeah,
it's this man who becomes this god, and like all this stuff with meaning and purpose and inner potential and everything like that. And that's where I think on the pyramid for most of Western civilization, we're kind of between the top tier and the second tier, and maybe down to the third tier. But like not many of us are sitting on the first tier, but the people that are being tortured in the example that you're saying about, they're the ones that are sitting on the physiological needs. They're ones who say, I need to tell myself a story that's going to help me cope with the fact that I'm being tortured and my possible hope of escaping the torture.
Right.
Yeah.
So I found that while you were talking about it, and yeah, that's what it was referring to. I didn't know, I couldn't think of I didn't know its name offhand. Um,
Yeah, that narrative thing that really resonated with me. Basically, that we do like to tell stories, and stories have they have the opening, and they have the drama. There's some drama at first, and then it's resolved at the end. We have that habit, and that's part of it too. Part of what we are.
But I
Narrative
think what we
machine.
would agree with in this group is that we want real narratives. Like politics, for some point, are real narratives.
Right.
Religion, fantasy narratives.
yeah.
And that's a
Yeah.
big difference in establishing a fantastical narrative versus what is the real story going on? How is this person interacting with this person? What effect does it have on me, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, and with everything in life, we have to temper it with reason and logic, because we are storytelling creatures. And
Yeah.
a YouTuber I watch, I won't say name because it's not relevant, but was saying a narrative about political things, and saying, a certain person was this and that and the other thing. I said, really, what's the proof of that? Where it's like, oh, it's in this thing. They said these talking points that match Mein Kampf. Oh, really? In what way? Can you demonstrate that? And they didn't like that, but then they kind of backed out, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not. It's like, if you're not willing to show what you're saying, then what you're saying is a belief. It's not a fact.
Yeah,
And
history is a narrative that we tell about each other about the past that we accept as fact. Mythology is
Yeah.
the opposite. It's a narrative we tell each other that is based in fantasy. Sorry, didn't mean to cut in.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We're all in this grand narrative together, telling this story of humanity, and I hope it. I hope that we can um, get the sun and turn it into a giant rocket, so we can propel the solar system around the galaxy and seed the universe with humans, who will evolve into something else. I don't know what they would call themselves anymore, but I don't know that we're gonna make it that far.
They call
Uh,
themselves D-mans.
yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, well, that's why I'm donating my brain to science. That way I can be around to see it. As a cyborg or something. I don't know. But
Well,
there's
I wanted to add real quick that it's also depending on the culture and the times and the religion as to what people think about what happens in the afterlife, because there are the ideas that there is justice in an afterlife because you get on a balance against your life. And then you
Yeah.
also have the religions that basically say, well, if you join our religion, you get a card, right? So it kind of depends on the ideals there, because I think that I like the idea that you're weighed against your life. There's no get out of jail free card, because a lot of people talk about, well, the ultimate justice. But if this bad person found the religion, then they kind of get a card anyways, so that they still go to the afterlife anyways. You see what
right,
I
there
mean?
isn't a celestial justice in that sort of
Yeah.
system.
But in
Well,
the
my
ones where you have to actually step on that balance, there's nothing you can say. That balance is either going to weigh out or tip one way or another. That's it.
And I think that if we live as if this is it, and thus we strive to do the best we can, that's really as good as it's gonna get. And
Yeah.
and we're gonna, oh goodness, we're gonna fail so many times, but we're also gonna have successes. And so that's
And
the
that
the
life,
power
Yeah, that life will get you into a bunch of these afterlives, though, because
yeah, right.
you're gonna
Yeah,
you're gonna at least balance out. You may not be the best person, but you're at least gonna balance out. You say, well, I messed up this day, but the next day I made it up.
I got bonus points, right?
Yeah, you
I've
did.
been,
You did.
man,
Well, you
I've
did.
been
You
so
yeah.
lazy. I'm screwed no matter
You
what.
stopped in the rain and helped somebody change a flat, or you know what I mean, one of those kind of things where you didn't
Yeah.
really have to, but you
Well,
did it anyways.
the thing is, when you go to heaven, in heaven there are no flat tires. So what are you going to do to help other people? People don't need your help in heaven
Right,
at all. Nobody needs anything, right? So what in the hell
It
good for you?
depends.
Yeah,
If you
what
listen
kind
to,
of good?
if you listen to
What-
Cat Kerr, there's all kind of things to do in heaven.
Yeah, body part
there
where
are?
you can work at the body part warehouse.
Oh,
No,
there's roller coasters, and you get to build and design whatever kind of mansion you want. And
Oh, okay.
Superman teaches you how to fly, and you can ride on the volcano lava because you don't get burned. And
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to
there's all
help
kind of things.
anybody.
Mike,
It's the series. It's the Good Place. That's probably the best.
kept not being good.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I
it's
gotta
so good.
I gotta
love
finish
that.
that.
I love that series. It was
But
great. I love
it has to be true though, because she went there and talked to
Yeah,
Jesus and
no, it's all,
everything.
yeah,
Obviously.
that's how the afterlife
Right.
actually is. Nobody,
So,
it's all
yeah.
kind of messed up, and they don't know why. Nobody's running it very well.
So
That-
But
that's-
it's no different. Yeah, no different than anybody else making up an after.
yeah, sure. What
can we examine the opposite side with us in the panel? Like, what do we think about the concept of ultimate purpose and meaning?
Ultimate, like
the
What
best
makes
you're gonna
no-
get would be
it makes no sense to me. I mean, it makes ultimate makes no sense to me. Absolute makes no sense to me. And in some ways, when you write down dogma, okay, like if somebody wrote a book about the right way that society should be run, and that book was treated as a biblical account of everything that we should do in the future, and they said, okay, crops have to be plowed east to west all the time. And then it turns out that plowing crops east to west creates the highest amount of erosion 1,000 years later or 100 years later, right? But no, we got this book, this dogma. So when you get to ultimate and when you get to these ideas of this overall control or writing dogma that cannot be amended, right? I think in a way that's evil. And so I don't know. I don't understand ultimate purpose because if you have an ultimate purpose, it sort of detracts from the everyday purpose, right? If you got your eye on the ball way up in the sky, you may miss an opportunity to help somebody change a flat tire right down here. So I don't know. Ultimate makes no sense to me. Maybe you could explain. One of you guys could help me out.
I think it's kind of a poetic sort of terminology, so I would go with a poetic answer. But CD, go ahead.
We're too different. Even with religions, there's been how many religions through time? We're just too different, I think. Even ultimately, to all agree on one ideal. I think there's always going to be, well, no, there's always going to be the people that say, well, but no, but I don't think so.
I disagree.
And we got to have that. So go ahead, BS.
I was joking. I say I disagree with you.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
So,
okay,
so ultimate, it's going to change from person to person. So, like I said, there's people that, what I would call the salt of the earth, right? These are the folks, they have no interest in being scientists or wanting to even know about it. They don't care. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But they have plenty of meaning doing their thing, right? They get up, they go to work, they have kids, and they have hobbies, all that stuff again. Same as anybody else. And if they go to a church or a temple one day a week, it's okay, that's what they do. But to be ultimate, even again, let's say the hierarchy of a religion, is the ultimate to be the Pope? Is it to be the bishop? Is it to be the priest? What about monks? Are monks first in line in front of everybody else? I mean, some of these people literally give up everything and go to these, far off retreats, and much respect, but is again, the ultimate purpose. Well, it depends where you are, because they would even say, well, but they need the people that build the roads and all that kind of stuff, grow the crops and all that kind of thing too. So you have to have that different setup anyways. So yeah, it's really hard to get an ultimate standard for everybody. And I think that's what the opposite would be, imposing an ultimate standard on everybody is really hard to work.
Have you ever seen What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams? Anybody?
Yeah.
Everybody?
A long time ago. I saw it in the theater when it came out.
I thought that was a very beautiful idea of heaven. Every individual had their own individual heaven, but they also had common places where they would be able to meet and socialize. So it's almost like how the internet is nowadays. We can all have our own channels and rooms where we're the boss, or we can go, meet at other places. So maybe YouTube atheism is heaven.
We're in heaven. Who knew? Yeah. That's our meaning.
Oh man, I don't know with these kind of people. I think I'm in the other place. No, just kidding.
No, you're in the other place.
No. That's, I think I would say the poetic answer I would give is love as much as you can, as often as you can, to as many people as you can, for as long as you can. That's going to have to be good enough.
Non-religious philosophers and religious people, all the big ones in all the religions, everybody agrees with the golden rule. So I think that's something everybody can agree with in this life. And if it gets you into an afterlife, or there is no afterlife, we're all pretty much agreeing that, not that everybody follows it, but you're supposed to have a golden rule, which to me is that everybody has the freedom to do what they want equally as much as I have the freedom to do what I want.
Well, my question about let's talk about ultimate meaning and purpose. What I had in mind was talking about like Christians specifically, and you asked them, what do you mean by ultimate purpose? And most of the time, the answer you'll get is that to worship God is the ultimate purpose.
And so boring.
But then like when you get down to that word worship, that starts getting really wiggly, and wiggly and sense of, oh, you're worshiping God when you're cooking a dinner for your family, or you worship God when you're mowing your lawn, and it's like, so you're just living life, and that's worshiping God. So, like it's circular in nature. It's like eternal life is eternally living and doing eternally living tasks like cooking dinner and mowing lawns.
Whatever the meaning is, or if there is or isn't, I think that that the us doing what we're doing now in a way is to the meaning, is to attempt to find the meaning is the meaning. The journey is the destination. The journey is the, or however you want to say that. That is the adventure is the journey, and the journey is the destination, and up is down, and all that sort of
and
thing.
Don't stop believing.
Yeah, don't stop believing. However, having said all that, I do believe, to wrap things up, as I want to do, because I think that we've pretty much said. I think we probably could talk more about it, but I think we've said a lot of things, and certain people have bedtimes and whatnot, and we don't want to, But I did find I think I found the ultimate purpose in life here. Although I'm not too sure about it, but I think that's it. I think that this is the ultimate purpose. It's the ultimate porpoise, at any rate. It's not really perfect, but I kind of like it. Yeah, that's the ultimate purpose.
It's got a nice smile there.
Yeah, the ultimate porpoise. So there you go. That's the ultimate Okay, porpoise is there's a type of porpoise. It's it, and then I made a joke. Yay. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah.
Be good to each other. Be sure to subscribe to Answers in BS, Captive Lewis, and In Man. Wait, what?
What?
Huh? What? Lobsters. Everyone say things as we end. Go, everyone, go crazy
Lobster.
at the end. Hey,
Be grateful that you're alive today.
Do
There you
good
go.
and get money. What is it? Be excellent to each other. Party on. Hey, this panel has no purpose. Your microphone's muted. You have to say something when I press the button. You have to say something. Okay, thanks everybody.
Bye.
And